Speaking of beating something, I wanted to beat myself in the head with a hammer because I won't say I was looking forward to anything on this program except MJF emerging triumphant. But I thought, okay, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal against Sting and Darby Allin. This can be either a great tag team match or an AEW style clusterfuck. And going into it, I had high hopes it would be, because again, regardless of what you think about him, or whether he should be on TV or now or behind the scenes or whatever, Jeff Jarrett right now is the best worker on the AEW roster. Bryan Danielson's probably the best at modern style, but there is nobody that is as good as Jeff Jarrett at classic pro wrestling. His psychology and his work, and he can have a match with anybody of any style, and it'll make sense. I've seen him do it a million times, and he can get people over and elevate them with their performance against him. And all that was completely negated here. And Jay Lethal is one of the most special talents I think they have and is capable of so much. And all that was negated here. And Darby Allin, we've said, as the unique, weird charisma. And people like to watch him, and he does the wild shit, but at least he flings himself into it with abandon. But he can be led. And Sting, he's 63 or whatever, just that he's still there. And if he's doing something sparingly, oh, he's an icon. And they had to muck this fucking thing up to where it was almost goddamn unbearable. They couldn't just have a goddamn tag team match. They couldn't do what all these guys can do. They had to AEW it up. And I don't know whether it's Tony Khan or whether did Jeff come in and have this much pull to put something like this together? I don't fucking know. I don't know why he'd want to. Let me just run down the highlights, Brian, and I'll get your thoughts, Mr. Solomon Grundy.
Sure.
Jeff brings, what was it, 4 or 5 Sting druids down in black outfits and Sting masks. And then they have a blackout. And then there's a spotlight. And there's a body bag with a body in the body bag on the stage in the spotlight. So Jay Lethal takes the Sting druids to get the body bag. But Darby's music starts playing. And then as Jay Lethal gets to the body bag, the pyro goes off and scares Lethal, and Darby comes out and attacks him with a skateboard and beats up Lethal and the druids with the skateboard. I don't know who was in the body bag or where he went. And meanwhile, while this is going on, Jeff is watching from the ring, and Sting comes in the ring behind Jeff. And he's there forever. And finally, Jeff turns around and sees him and begs off, and then the bell rings. And they have an immediate 4-way, 2 in the ring, 2 go to the floor. And Sting slammed Jay Lethal off the top turnbuckle onto the apron. Which, again, why bless Jay that he wants to take these kind of risks and that kind of bumps and this fucking mess when he's not being treated properly, but God damn it. So Darby Allin and Jeff go out in the crowd in the back of the arena, and Sting and Lethal go the other direction back in the arena. And I wrote, I swear to God, Jeff's the best worker on the roster, and Lethal's one of my favorite people, and I can't fucking watch this. And Darby was going to coffin drop Jeff off of a ladder on the stage. Well, no, wait, there's a ladder on the stage. Darby goes to climb the ladder, and he's going to coffin drop off the ladder, off the stage, onto Jeff, but Zippy the giant pinhead appears and catches Darby and carries him back to the entrance and whirly birds him on the ramp. And at one point, they were just showing replays of shit that had previously happened while everybody in the match, in quotation marks, wandered around in the general admission seats. And so I fast forwarded to see if anybody ever actually got in the ring. And finally they did. Jeff Jarrett and Darby Allin. And I stopped that and I slowed that down And I swear to God, in 30 seconds, they were done. I would pay to see Jeff Jarrett and Darby Allin have a 20-minute singles match with nobody allowed to touch the arena floor, or they would be electrocuted to death. And I bet you it would be one of the better matches. It'd be the best match Darby ever had, and a better match than most of these things. So now everybody got tired, so they got 2 in and 2 out and started tagging. Bear in mind, they fought after the entire arena and took bumps, and people have interfered. And by the way, did I mention that this is no disqualification, no count out, lazy booking? So they've been all over the building, and they've fought everywhere, and people have interfered. And then suddenly they get in the ring, and 2 guys just wander over to the corners, and the other 2 guys get a hold. And Jay Lethal gets an abdominal stretch on Darby Allin, and in 45 seconds later, Darby hip tosses him out and gets a cold tag to Sting. It was the coldest tag I'd ever seen. It's like he didn't even care. It's like he just went up and reached his hand out like he was taking a fucking toll at a toll booth and said, here, tag me. Boom, done. 0 crowd pop. Why would they pop? There's been no match. And 45 seconds of heat on the babyface before he makes the tag. What in the flying fuck are they even thinking?
And the people
Go ahead.
I was going to say the whole tagging thing, the people I was watching it with, again, and these were people that I think were diehard AEW fans. They even said, well, why are they bothering to tag? This is a no disqualification match. They've been trying to kill each other all over the building. What is the referee going to do if they don't tag in and out? That part didn't make any sense at all after what they had done. I think that I enjoyed the match a little more than you did, and I'll explain why.
Boy, you would have almost had to.
Anyone would have, but I think the reason is because, unlike you, the way you described it going in, this is pretty much what I expected it to be. I didn't think it was going to be anything other than this, especially because Sting has been doing a lot of this kind of stuff lately. Maybe in some weird way it masks some of his physical limitations, even though that seems counterintuitive. But I think that's what I expected it to be. It sort of gave me what I thought. I think Jeff Jarrett is a tremendous worker, always has been. I love his crowd interactions as a heel are priceless. I think, though, he stands out more in today's wrestling than he did maybe in his heyday, just because he's able to do things now that were taken for granted back then and are not so much now. So, I mean, he's particularly in today's wrestling. I have to say, I enjoy him now maybe more than I did 20, 30 years ago. I really mean that. But so this match didn't, I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be much more than this, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Lowered expectations.
Yes.
Well, yeah, okay, Sting. He's 63. He's in a black sweatshirt, black pants, black gloves, and he made a flat-footed comeback. Because he like you said, they're masking it. He gets the big crossbody from a high point in on 2 or 3 big guys, and then he makes a comeback. But then he gets the Scorpion Deathlock on Jeff Jarrett, and the Pinhead and Sanjay get in the ring right in front of the referee again. I know, no DQ. And they choke slam Sting, and then Jeff covers him 1-2, kick out, no pop. Because it's nobody was with this because it was ridiculous. It didn't make any sense. And then they just did 2 more cold tags to Jay Lethal and to Darby Allin. They just started over again. And they do a few nice athletic spots, which it's way too late for that at this point. And then Jeff gets the guitar. Darby is coming off the top with a coffin drop, and Jeff blasts him across the back with the guitar, and the guitar breaks. And Darby Allin nips up and doesn't sell it. Again, this is the smallest guy in the fucking company. And whether you like it or not, everybody sold the guitar. Darby just got knocked out by the guitar last week, but everybody sold it. Suddenly, after all this, he doesn't sell the guitar. And then Darby does 18 of those fake Sting backhands that used to make me fucking quiver and cringe when Sting did them 30 years ago because they looked phony then. Now Darby's doing the backhands. And here comes Zippy in. And they're just using the giant pinhead freely. And Sting gets him in a reverse face lock, and Darby coffin drops him into a death drop. And then Jay Lethal back to the match. Jay Lethal goes for the lethal injection on Sting, and Sting tries to catch him in a death drop, but missed him. And they both fell down. And Darby hit another coffin drop, 1, 2, 3. And again, Jay Lethal gets beat. Sting is 63, and he's as over it now as he's going to be. Jeff is 53, and he's over now as he's going to be. Darby, he's got a future if he doesn't paralyze himself. But the best all-around talent for the future, they decided he's the one that needs to get beat. Fucking mess. Fucking rotten, as Rip Rogers would say.
I do worry about Darby Allin. He's one of those guys I watch and I just go, wow. I think that somebody needs to, I don't know, warn him what the future may hold. I mean it.
I have a feeling it's been done. And he's like all the rest of the kids, he ain't going to listen.
Well, I remember on Twitter one time there was an exchange where I forget what it was. He had done something really insane. I mean, even for him. Maybe it was when he got dragged in the body bag or something. And there were people on there, like even some people of authority and note, that were saying, kid, you need to slow down and watch it. And you're going to be in a wheelchair and all that, God forbid. And he had this very hostile response, like really upset and angry and very kind of angrily responding to people, who were, I think, genuinely concerned for his health. So, I mean, look, he's all in. That's what he wants to do. Hopefully it works out okay for him, but it's scary to watch a lot of times.
Well, and I mean, even if it was just wrestling, actually, no, then I'd have a problem with it, because in the old days, a guy that took crazy bumps on his own, he was only going to hurt himself. And if he didn't listen, well, what's fucking did? But these guys do such phony shit to set up their stunts that it hurts the wrestling business. So that's why I get mad at it. If he wants to break his fucking neck, let him. He's a fucking idiot. He could make a ton of money in this business, or he can keep jumping a tricycle over his fucking mother's house and kill himself. But they should be reined in before they make the business look so stupid. And, if he doesn't want to take the special kind of talent that he's got and monetize it and make himself successful and famous and people not to think he's a goddamn blithering simpleton, then that's up to him. But I can think, okay, now you've got a job working for a billionaire on a national television show, so you're not going to jump off any more bridges or fucking jump any goddamn thing with wheels over something that you've set up in your backyard, because you're not getting paid for that. You got a responsibility here at a fucking job and a career. You have a responsibility to the company that's paying you a lot of money. Straighten your shit out and become a fucking adult. You goddamn idiot. Why am I talking to this guy like he's a fucking my child?
But
I wouldn't have a kid that stupid. He wouldn't be jumping this shit. He'd be out fucking selling tickets to the motherfuckers to watch this goof that's going to kill himself jump shit.
And this is what people were saying to him. Exactly what you're saying, or exactly the kinds of comments that he was getting from older people within the business who'd seen a lot of stuff, who were trying to warn him, and he was just having none of it. So he's decided